Good evening. Welcome to the May 16th meeting of Council. I'm Marty Baker, President of Council. Please silence your electronic devices for the duration of the meeting. We will begin with the invocation by Mr. Tom Kendall, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, please look over our community and its citizens and be with us as we go forward this week in our daily routines. Be with our first responders who protect us and help us in times of need. Be with our service people who are both here in the U.S. and overseas, helping to fight and protect our freedoms. In His name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Knight, please call the roll.
Mr. Phillips?
Here.
Mr. Twist?
Here.
Mrs. Oda? Here. Mr. Heath?
Here.
Mr. Kendall?
here.
Mr. Swazer?
Here.
Mr. Twilliger? Mr. Tremblay? Mrs. Snee?
I move we excuse Mr. Twilliger.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Kendall and seconded by Mr. Phillips to excuse Mr. Terwilliger. Mrs. Knight, please call the roll.
Mr. Twist?
Yes.
Mrs. Oda?
Yes.
Mr. Heath?
Yes.
Mr. Kendall?
Yes.
Mr. Swazer?
Yes.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Twilliger is excused.
I'd like to move that we excuse Mrs. Snee, please.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Phillips and seconded by Mr. Twist to excuse Mrs. Snee. Mrs. Knight, please call the roll.
Mrs. Oda?
Yes.
Mr. Heath?
Yes.
Mr. Kendall?
Yes.
Mr. Swazer?
Yes.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Twist?
Yes.
Mrs. Snee is excused.
I'll move to excuse Mr. Tremblay.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Heath and seconded by Mr. Schweizer to excuse Mr. Tremblay. Mrs. Knight, please call the roll.
Mr. Heath?
Yes.
Mr. Kendall?
Yes.
Mr. Swazer?
Yes.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Twist?
Yes.
Mrs. Oda?
Yes.
Mr. Tremblay is excused.
Tonight we have two public hearings. We'll begin with Ordinance 028-2016. Mrs. Knight, would you please read that?
Ordinance number 028-2016, ordinance changing zoning of part of in-lot 39, parcel number DO8001170 in the city of Troy from B2 General Business District to R5 Single Family Residence District. This is the address of 16 South Short Street.
Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak in favor of the ordinance? Please come to the microphone and state your name and address.
My name is David Recker, and my address is 23 East Walnut Street in Covington, Ohio. The reason I'm here is my sister-in-law is purchasing this residence. And at this point in time, since it's zoned the way it is, she can't get a loan because it's residential/commercial. And what I was wondering of council, if that could be placed on emergency legislation and passed all in one evening.
We cannot do this, I don't think, as emergency. It's already gone to the second, this will be the second reading this evening.
Yes.
We do not have a quorum here this evening to pass legislation. It would be a third reading at the next meeting, and we hopefully can pass it at that point, or at least vote on it at that point in
When will
time.
that meeting be?
That meeting will be the first Monday in June. June the 6th, I believe, is the date, at 7 o'clock here.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Anyone else that wishes to speak in favor of the rezoning? Anyone who wishes to speak against the rezoning? Seeing none, I declare this public hearing closed. Mrs. Knight, please read ordinance O-29, 2016.
Ordinance number O-29, 2016, ordinance changing the zoning of in-lot 8661, parcel DO8103276 in the city of Troy, Ohio, from M2 Light Industrial District to OR1 Office Residential District. This is the address of 532 Grant Street.
Okay. I now declare this public hearing open. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak in favor of this ordinance?
Good evening. I'm Jessica Mindsinger with Mindsinger Companies, 7 South Plum Street here in Troy. My company has an option to purchase this building. It's just over 25,000 square feet. As Mrs. Knight read, it's currently zoned manufacturing, and we're asking to rezone it to office residential. The purpose being to redevelop the property into residential loft condos. Probably somewhere at this point between 8 to 11 condominiums that would be sold off as individual units. So we're excited about the project and think it's going to be a great addition to Troy, a great redevelopment use, repurposed use of that building. So that's it, unless you have any questions.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience wishes to speak in favor of this? Anyone in the audience who wishes to speak against the ordinance? Seeing none, then I declare the public hearing closed. Mrs. Knight, please read a summary of the minutes of the May 2nd, 2015 meeting.
Minutes of Council, May 2, 2016. Committee reports. Community and Economic Development Committee recommended that ordinances O20, O21, and O22 be adopted. Personnel Committee reported regarding an appointment to the City Beautification Committee, and Patty Dorn's appointment was approved. Law and Ordinance Committee gave an oral report regarding a liquor license permit for Olive Oasis. Recreation and Parks Committee reported regarding the group of local recreational organizations that request council to place a 10-year capital property tax levy on the November 8th ballot. And committee recommended that legislation be prepared requesting the county auditor to certify the millage that would be required for such a levy. Resolution number R21, 2016, application for community development block grant funds was given first reading and was adopted. Resolution number R22, 2016, authorizing an agreement with AFSCME was given first reading and adopted. Resolution number R23, 2016, authorizing an agreement with AFSCME by the Board of Park Commissioners was given first reading and adopted. Resolution number R24, 2016, approving the application of Smith's Boathouse Restaurant for assistance from the revolving loan fund was given first reading and was adopted. Resolution number R25, 2016, approving a loan from Adventures on the Great Miami from the Small Business Development Revolving Loan Fund was given first reading and adopted. Resolution number R26, 2016, authorizing, requesting the county auditor to certify millage for a tax levy, first reading and adopted. Resolution of memoriam to Dr. Thomas Ruddy was approved. Ordinance O20, 2016, a rezoning was given third reading and adopted. Ordinance number O21, 2016, a rezoning was given third reading and adopted. Ordinance number O22, 2016, a rezoning, third reading and adopted. Ordinance O27, 2016, fixing salaries and wages of AFSCME employees, first reading and adopted. Ordinance number O28, 2016, a rezoning on Short Street was given first reading. Ordinance number O29, 2016, a rezoning on Grant Street was given first reading. Oops, sorry, shuffled my pages wrong. Sorry, thank you. Okay, but I'm following various comments. The council adjourned at 7:47 p.m.
Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
Yes, Madam President.
Mr. Phillips.
On page 2 of the minutes of council, that's at the top of the page under citizens' comments, Mr. Ed Christ's name is misspelled, and it's C-R-I-S-T, not C-H-R-I-S-T.
Thank you. It's noted and changed.
Thank you, ma'am.
Move we accept the minutes as read.
Second.
The amendment.
As amended, okay. Mr. Kendall moved that we accept the minutes as amended, and that was seconded by Mr. Schweizer. Mrs. Knight, please call the roll.
Mr. Kendall?
Yes.
Mr. Swazer?
Yes.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Twist?
Yes.
Mrs. Oda?
Yes.
Mr. Heath?
Yes.
Minutes are approved.
We'll move on to committee reports. Tonight, L&O has a liquor license application to read. Mr. Schweizer?
Yes, ma'am, we do. The Ohio Division of Liquor Control has transmitted the notice of application for a new D5 permit for La Fiesta Express LLC, 1133 West Main Street. A D5 permit is for spirituous liquor for on-premise consumption only, beer, wine, and mixed beverages for on-premise or off-premise in original sealed containers until 2:30 a.m. We are not aware of any basis for objection to the license.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The next report's from the Recreation and Parks Committee, and Chairman, Mr. Brock Heath.
Thank you, Madam President. On May 9th, this committee met to provide a recommendation to council regarding a request from a group of local recreational organizations known as Operation Recreation 2020 Levy Committee. The council placed a 10-year levy on the November ballot so that the electors may vote to determine if the levy will be approved. The Miami County Auditor has certified that a levy of 2.01 mils would be needed to provide funding of $1 million per year for 10 years. So that this can be determined by the voters, it is the recommendation of this committee the legislation be prepared to place on the November 8th ballot a park and recreation levy of 2.01 mils. This is respectfully submitted by Robin Oda, Doug Tremblay, and myself as chair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The Streets and Sidewalks Committee has our next reports from Chairman, Mr. Bobby Phillips.
Thank you, Madam President. The committee met on May 9 to consider the recommendation of the Troy Planning Commission that council accept the dedication of .291 acres of a right-of-way of existing in-lots 7099 and 7100, which are located along the east side of the 1200 block of Union Street, south of Dakota Street. It was the recommendation of the committee that legislation be prepared accepting the dedication of .291 acres of right-of-way of the existing in-lots 7099 and 7100. And this is respectfully submitted by Mr. Heath, Mrs. Snee, and myself as chair.
Are there any questions from council on the report? You may continue, Mr. Phillips.
Thank you, ma'am. The committee also heard the matter on May 9 to consider the recommendation of the Troy Planning Commission that council accept the dedication of .094 acres of a right-of-way of existing in-lot 6384, which is located along the north side of the 600 block of East Staunton Road. And it is the recommendation of the committee that legislation be prepared accepting the dedication of the .094 acres of right-of-way of that existing in-lot 6384. And this is also submitted respectfully by Mr. Heath, Mrs. Snee, and myself as chair.
Are there any questions from council on the report? Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Is there any further committee reports to come before council? No? Okay. We'll now open the meeting to citizen comments. There is a 2-minute time limit at this point in the meeting, and Mr. Kerber is our timekeeper. Does anyone in the audience have any questions or comments related to any of the agenda items this evening? If so, please come to the microphone and state your name and address before addressing council.
My name is Jim Taylor. I live at 2670 Kessler-Colesville Road in Troy. So I'm here tonight to let the council know I support the recreation levy be put on the November ballot.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
Lester Connor, 1210 South Clay Street, Troy, Ohio. Well, I feel sorry for the low income and the senior citizens. We as seniors have got 3 years out of the last 7 with no increase in our Social Security. Not as much been interest in the golf courses anymore. It now seems like it's bike riding, kayaking, canoe. We've supplemented the aquatic pool, Miami Shores, and Hobart Arena for the last 4 or 5 years. It's good for the tourists coming into Troy, but it's bad for the citizens of Troy. We had to pick up the tab for those people coming into Troy. It's sad. School is going to put a levy on next year. Utilities are going up, insurance is going up, food's up, gas is going up. With all we are paying in Troy, we're getting less service for our money's worth. Mayor says our quality of life is better. I wish he could live on what I make and others, and let's see if he would say life is better and the quality of life is better then. I don't think so. This would cause the landlords to raise the rent, which could cost the city revenue because the people would be moving out of their rentals because they couldn't afford to pay the rent. We was asked for numbers at the last meeting. Somebody asked for numbers and how many levies Troy has included renewals, and have you got any of these figures yet?
Any figures?
I wasn't aware the question was asked, but I know the question had been asked at the committee meeting whether or not there were other levies that were planned this year, and I think the unanimous answer was no. With regards to the other question, I'm not aware that question was asked.
Well, was anybody else remember that question being asked? Madam President?
Yes, sir.
Did anybody confer with Mr. Titherton about it, that the question was asked, or given him any memos?
Not to my knowledge, no.
What a way to run a business. Thank you.
Madam President, if I may.
Mr. Phillips?
I do recall a question being asked by a lady present that wanted to know the breakdown of all taxes and levies or other things, but it was a very broad request. I don't believe that there are any levies active from the city itself. There may be the library and other things, but nothing from the city.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience that wishes to speak at this time on any of the agenda items? Seeing none, then we'll move on to ordinances and ask Mrs. Knight to please read ordinance 020-2016.
028-2016.
Yes, please.
Ordinance number 028-2016, ordinance changing the zoning of part of NLOT 39, parcel number D08001170, in the city of Troy, Ohio, from B2 General Business District to R5 Single Family Residence District. This is the second reading, has been recommended for approval by the Troy Planning Commission, is the address of 16 South Short Street.
Okay, this will go on to a third reading, as will the rest of them this evening, or the rest of them will go to another reading, because we do not have a quorum this evening. Mrs. Knight, please read ordinance 029-2016.
Ordinance number 029-2016, ordinance changing the zoning of NLOT 8661, parcel number D08103276, in the city of Troy, Ohio, from M2 Light Industrial District to OR1 Office Residential District. This is the second reading. Is the address is 632 Grant Street, has been recommended for approval by the Troy Planning Commission.
And correction, we do have a quorum. We do not have the supermajority that is needed to suspend the rules to pass legislation this evening. Mrs. Knight, please read ordinance 029-2016.
Ordinance number 030-2016, ordinance accepting the dedication of a right-of-way. This is located along Union Street, south of Dakota Street, dedication of 0.291 acres, part of NLOT 7099 and 7100, recommended by the Troy Planning Commission, first reading.
Please read ordinance 031-2016.
Ordinance number 031-2016, ordinance accepting the dedication of a right-of-way. This is the dedication of 0.094 acres of NLOT 6384, located on the north side of East Staunton Road, west of Meadow Lane, has also been recommended for approval by the Troy Planning Commission and is the first reading.
Mrs. Knight, please read ordinance 032-2016.
Ordinance number 032-2016, an ordinance declaring the intention to levy a tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation for the purpose of providing for essential funding for parks and recreational purposes for the residents of the city of Troy, Ohio, sections 5705.03, 5705.05, and 5705.19H of the Ohio Revised Code. This would place the levy on the November 8th ballot. This is the first reading.
That completes the business portion of tonight's meeting. Mrs. Knight, are there any communications or announcements?
No, they're not.
Mayor Beamish, do you have any comments this evening?
Yes, I do have a communication I'd like to share for the minutes, and it does come in regards to the resolution memoriam for Dr. Tom Reddick. It's addressed to council members, Ms. Knight and Mayor Beamish. Please forgive the informality for my need to put these words on paper, but I know if I were to make an attempt to address council in person, it would become overwhelming with emotion. On behalf of the entire Reddick family, I'd like to take a moment to express a heartfelt appreciation for the kind gesture in the resolution that was presented to our family after Dad's unfortunate but expected passing. Dad took great pride in serving the Troy community as a member on council for the period that he did. For those that did not know Dad personally, he was someone who viewed the commitment of serving on council as a challenging privilege. For those of you who did not know Dad personally, you know that he was someone who fully embraced challenges and strived to provide results and stay ahead of the issues, never to fall behind or fail to deliver. Even though, as an elected official, he sat on one side of the political aisle, he openly communicated and worked with all those who represented his political opposition and worked towards solutions that were of a benefit to the community as a whole. It has been long believed that Dad first utilized the phrase, "This is a no-brainer," at council meetings. As the council evolves over the coming years, I hope that each present and future member of the council will strive to deliver a similar level of results to the Troy community that my dad did. It is refreshing knowing that in my present career path, I get the opportunity to work closely with some council members, making for a continued connection with our family. With warmest regards, Ben Reddick, son of Dr. Tom Reddick. He asked me to read that to all of you in grateful appreciation for what you did. That meant a lot. I've known the Reddick family and have served with Tom on council in the past, and what you did meant a lot to the entire Reddick family. So thank you on behalf of Ben Reddick and his family. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Director of Public Service and Safety, Mr. Titterington.
I have nothing this evening. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Director of Law, Mr. Kerber.
I have nothing this evening, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you. Director or City Auditor, Mr. Frigge. Any comments?
I have nothing at this time, Madam President.
Thank you. Mr. Titterington, a request for the benefit of our listening audience and those here in the audience. Could you please restate the latest information from the Mountain Bike Committee on the status of the cemetery trails and what the committee had determined on that?
Sure. At this point, the project behind the cemetery or adjacent to the cemetery has been put on hold at the request of the committee. The staff will be meeting tomorrow to determine locations where we will post no trespassing signs, because there was an expression of some safety concerns, and for us, for the police department to be able to patrol and enforce randomly. We do need to have the signs posted accordingly and according to the language that Mr. Kerber recommends to us. Okay. I don't know when that will be, although it will be put up. They will be put up as soon as possible.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any comments from council members this evening? Any comments from staff this evening? Anyone in the audience have any comments? Do we have any members of Leadership Troy here this evening? If so, please stand and give us your name and who you would be representing on council?
I am Alicia Harrelson, and I'm actually going to be firing two sentences.
Thank you.
Big shoes to fill.
Is there anyone else from Leadership Troy here this evening? Okay. Anyone else have any comments? Thank you for attending tonight's meeting. Have a safe and peace-filled week. Meeting adjourned.